Well, I think that fear of failure, if you realize that as long as you never give up, you can't fail. It's impossible to fail if you don't.
That's the
quit.
winning, not giving up.
Right. It doesn't matter if you stumble. As long as you get back up, every time you get back up, it's impossible to fail. You don't fail until you quit. So if you're willing to never quit, you can't fail. It's impossible. And that's what gets people through to that next level. That's what gets people through all the obstacles that come, because you're gonna stumble and fall along the way. And that's, I think, another big thing that a lot of people don't see or get to realize about maybe people they're looking up to as successful. They didn't see how many times they failed.
Sure.
It'll blow your mind. I always tell people, you wanna. There's not a single successful person you could look at who didn't fail miserably at everything they did.
And these so-called successful people, they do a disservice to people by lying and saying, "Oh, I was perfect all the time."
Yeah.
Because that kind of says to people, it lies to people and says, "You'll never be able to do this." Because as soon as people start failing, they go, "Oh, I don't have the same ingredients as you."
Yeah.
But if you told them,
yeah,
I failed all the time,
right,
everybody would try, would keep going.
Yeah. So like when somebody asks me, "Do I have what it takes to be a fighter?" Everybody has what it takes to be a fighter. It's some people are going to have a little more abilities here and there, but if you have the drive in you to overcome whatever limitations there are, because we all have them in different areas, that doesn't make you special. I have a limitation in this area, you might have it in another area. I just had to make up for it in that area with harder work on that specific thing. It's not like anyone was just handed this, like, here you go, take it and run. No, we all have to overcome things. And the more you realize that, especially if you study people, successful people, like, man, they had it way harder than I did. Yeah. They started way later than I did. You know what I mean? And then I think that's very important to get across to people, especially if they're in the same field as you, or they want to do what you did. When you learn about somebody's story and what they had to go through and overcome, and you realize they had to deal with way more than you did, or a different situation that you might never be able to overcome, that is something that'll give people encouragement to keep going.
So we have a responsibility to let the world know how vulnerable we are.
Yeah. Just telling your story and like, well, how did they get there? Oh, they went through a lot. They went through hell many times.
But they didn't quit.
No, and still go through it. And that's another thing. Like those same things. Like I still go through them today. Like just because I've been through them and got over them, doesn't mean I still have a lot of those same things that come up, and I got to go through again, just at a different level. You know, similar fears, but I'm in a different stage. You know, in the beginning, as far as fighting goes, was I'm too old to do this. That was 14 years ago. I still have that today. I'm too old to do this, but I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I'm happy to do this. I love doing it. I still feel like I'm getting better. I still have the drive to do it. So that hasn't changed, you know. So even for myself, I forget that those things I overcome before. You know, you forget about it sometimes. You don't realize.
But you also have to. I mean, my science is okay. I'm gonna grow where the fearful stuff is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna grow for sure. I'm gonna be tested. I'm gonna see things I've never seen in myself before. As long as I stay stubborn.
Yeah.
And force it to come out and aid me, right? And believe it's there. It just takes certain heats for it to go, okay, I'm going to wake up and come to your aid now.
Yeah.
Right? But you need to take a certain amount of responsibility if you're going to live that high, that challenging life.
Yeah.
So you got to watch your health because you're going to need to rebound and recover.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there was another interesting thing of when I looked at, and we all of us look back at our childhood in certain aspects, and you can either focus on all the shit that happened to you and see yourself as a victim, and that will not feed the body that you're sitting in now as a reference of who you are. And I started to look at my past, but when I went into those rooms in my memory where, you know, there's always a place that you remember where you were abused or something bad happened to you, you know what I mean, that made you feel inadequate. Forget the details, just the carnages the person's left there feeling like broken.
Yeah.
And there was that feeling of being broken, but I'm here today, so I wasn't broken, I survived it. So now I look back at that kid and I'm going, he has survived a lot of shit. Mm-hmm. Now that's some fuel.
Yeah.
And I'm attached by an umbilical cord to that guy.
Yeah.
That little guy that kept getting up. That little guy that still had hope. That little guy that was still creative even though it was horrific. Mm. That little guy that still was able to stay in touch with emotions like love, and he still had hope. I know that. I was there. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That guy is who I tap into.
Yeah.
Yeah, he cried and all of that, and you know what I mean, and he had a terrible time. They were moments of that process, but he also survived that. So I've looked at the crumbling child on the floor, and it shouldn't happen to you. You know what I mean? And because that's what everybody else said. That's when my life became bad, and everybody else said to me, that's a terrible thing that happened to you. You didn't deserve that. And I started to carry on that story about myself, and it debilitated me.
Yeah.
Then that pathetic perspective was draining me and now. Mm-hmm. But then now I look at the past and I look at what he survived honorably, and I get strength today from that. And only by facing my fears and going through all these different things and overcoming them, this becomes a past that feeds my now. When I'm faced with another fear, I go to that reference.
Yeah.
All I find here's fear, and it says, bring it. And I'm going, 1 minute, I'm just going to go and get the survivor. I'll be back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to get this guy I know that's really great at this stuff. You just wait there a minute, I'll come back with him. And then I tap into my homie. You know what I mean? Yeah. And we go, okay, where's the challenge? Be there at 8. Your flight's at?